Luskin, are you ready to vote Democratic? You saw the Democratic debate in South Carolina last week. Do you think that Dan Adams is right? Since Democrats going back to FDR have a better stock market record, are you ready to throw in? You want to vote Democratic?
With all due respect, which isn't much, all of this stuff about going back and seeing how this or that indicator did under this or that party, you might as well go back and look at hemlines and sunspots. These things are so complicated that going back with these simplistic forms of technical analysis are basically laughable.
Don,
let me finish my point. I'm kind of with Jerry on this. I think you have to appeal to theory because we're not trying to predict the past, which any idiot can do. We're trying to predict the future. And I think we know that if we raise taxes on the stock market, we will have a lower stock market. If we raise taxes on dividends, we will have fewer dividends. That is axiomatic. So as we go forward, looking to the Bush tax cuts expiring after tax year 2010, I think we have to worry very substantially about what's going to happen when those tax cuts roll off and become tax hikes.
Gary Gensler.
I was just going to ask Don one technical question. What percentage of the stock market is tax exempt? Meaning for your viewers, much of the stock market, a majority, are pension funds and big institutions that don't pay these taxes. So on the margin, I don't really see the effect that you all are suggesting on these.
Well, make up your mind. Do you want to talk about the average or the margin? Those are two completely different analytical components.
What percentage of the market is tax-exempt holders?
What's the difference? The answer is about 55. But what's the difference? The question is what the marginal investor is going to do, right?
You're the one who
wait a
second. What's the single thing you like the most about Senator Clinton from a market standpoint?
Well, I like it that she's very experienced, and I think she'll be more market-friendly than some of the other candidates. They all are for trying to address themselves to health care, for instance, and it's a very critical feature for American business. But how are we going to do it? It's going to take a long time, and I think she recognizes that, partly because of what's come before.
Don Luskin, I mean, after all, I believe you were part of our group. We supported Clinton on free trade. We certainly supported him on welfare reform. We certainly supported him on the lower capital gains tax cut that Gary Gensler has erased from his memory. What is Hillary today? She looks like she's departed from the Bill Clinton playbook. She came on CNBC and talked about capital controls and trade protectionism.
Well, it's a complete joke. It would be a disaster. You know, my question for Gensler is if we could go back in time to 1993 or 1994 or whenever it is that she was proposing Hillary Care, you know, she's such a genius, she's so market friendly. If you could wave a magic wand, Mr. Gensler, would you transport us back in time and have her socialized health care proposals enacted? We would now be, what, more than a decade into them. Do you think that would be good for the market? Do you think that would be good for anything, especially your health? Yes or no?
Don, we've all heard her say that she's learned from that experience, and she would take a very different approach now. I like her because she is market friendly, and I think she's very pragmatic.
So the very fact that the one thing she's ever done in her public life that was about bringing up from zero a complete policy universe and trying to impose it on America, the one thing she did, which was an utter disaster, you actually hold to her credit because she's learned from it? Good Lord.
No, Don, what we're talking about, who in this field of Republicans and Democrats is good for the economy? I think the Democrats collectively, each of them, and there's very fine candidates, all of them, on the Democratic field to pick from.
What's good for the economy about imposing capital controls?
I'm not talking about imposing capital
Hillary
controls.
Is. Hillary Clinton is.
Let me go to, hold on. Dan Adamson.
On CNBC a couple of weeks ago, she did.
Dan, yes, she did, actually. She was not good. Maybe she'll change back. But people say she's not listening to Robert Rubin. She's listening to the protectionist union guys. But Don Luskin, who's your pro-stock market candidate?
I mean this in all seriousness, Larry. Ron Paul.
All right, let me rephrase it. Who is your most realistic pro-stock market candidate?
Rudy,
Don,
baby.
can you get it out? Hillary.
Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy looks good, too.
All right, gentlemen.